There's a quiet truth in the way families are shaped. Every home has a heartbeat, a rhythm, that determines how well it functions. And just like any other system, a family needs structure. It needs balance, harmony, and leadership. Without this, no matter how much love is present, chaos will find its way in. This is the story of a family where the woman, though strong and capable, was forced to carry all the weight. She ran the household with grace, but without a guiding man to provide the structure, the house became a battlefield. It was a typical evening in the Johnson household. The dinner table, usually filled with laughter and the scent of freshly cooked food, now echoed with the sound of bickering. The children argued about the smallest things, their voices rising with every passing second. The mother, Mary, sat at the head of the table, her tired eyes scanning the chaos. She had always been the one to take charge, to make sure everything ran smoothly. But tonight, it felt different. The family had no father figure. The last few years had been challenging. Her husband had left, and for the sake of her children, Mary had become both mother and father. She tried her best to keep everything together, but without a solid foundation of leadership, things began to slip. Mary was a nurturing woman, full of love, but even she couldn't ignore the growing tension. Her children were smart, capable, but they lacked direction. Every decision was made on impulse, driven by emotions rather than reason. There were no boundaries, no voice of final authority to settle the growing storm in their home. Mary knew she was doing the best she could, but deep down, she also knew something was missing. A solid structure, a strong guiding presence, a man who could provide leadership, was absent. The family was walking on thin ice, unsure of what would crack first. And though she was doing her best to hold everything together, there was a truth she couldn't deny: when emotions lead, chaos follows. Meanwhile, in another part of town, a man named James had been observing Mary and her family for a while. He wasn't sure why, but something about their situation struck him deeply. He had been raised in a family where there was a strong father figure. His father, though firm, always brought balance to their home. There was peace, respect, and order. James had been raised to understand the importance of structure. As he watched Mary's family from afar, he couldn't help but see the cracks in their foundation. There was love, yes, but it was fragile. Every small issue seemed to escalate into something bigger because there was no one to step in and say, "This is enough. Let's set some boundaries." He saw the toll it took on Mary. She was doing everything, but it wasn't sustainable. He knew something needed to change, and he couldn't stand by and watch anymore. But there was something else he realized: it wasn't just Mary he was observing. It was the system that raised her. James, a wise man in his own right, understood that when you marry a woman, you're not just marrying her. You're marrying the system that raised her. That's why he took his time. He didn't rush into relationships, not because he didn't care, but because he knew the importance of family dynamics. He knew that a family, if it wasn't built on strong leadership, would have to be rebuilt, piece by piece. As James began to get to know Mary, he saw that her struggles weren't just because she was a woman trying to do it all. It was because she had never had a man to help provide structure. She had never had that leadership, and because of that, her decisions were often clouded by emotions, not wisdom. James also realized something important: the children. They weren't bad kids. They were bright and capable. But without a clear structure in place, they lacked direction. It was as if they were searching for something they didn't know how to find. One evening, after a particularly heated argument over something trivial, James approached Mary. She was sitting in the living room, her head in her hands, exhausted from trying to keep everything together. "Mary," James said gently, sitting down next to her, "you've been carrying all this weight alone for so long, haven't you?" Mary looked up, surprised by the kindness in his voice. She hadn't had someone ask her that in a long time. She nodded. "I see how hard you're trying. But it's not just about doing everything yourself, James continued. A home needs structure. It needs balance. And sometimes, it takes a man's presence, not just his love, to make it all work. You can't build a family on emotions alone. Mary looked at him, a bit surprised by his insight. I don't know how to do this anymore, James. It's exhausting. I just want peace. I know, James replied. But peace comes from leadership, not just love. Without it, things fall apart. You see, in a family, when there's no authority, everyone becomes their own head. And when everyone's the head, no one's listening. It becomes chaos. Over the next few months, James became a consistent presence in Mary's life. He didn't try to take over or dictate what she should do. Instead, he showed her that it was okay to lean on him for support. He helped set boundaries with the children, showed them the importance of respect, and encouraged Mary to take a step back when things got overwhelming. Slowly, things began to change. The children started to listen, the arguments became less frequent, and there was a sense of calm that Mary hadn't felt in years. James didn't solve all their problems, but he brought something Mary hadn't realized she was missing: leadership and structure. James and Mary eventually married. And though their journey wasn't perfect, it was a new beginning. A fresh start where the family learned the importance of balance, boundaries, and leadership. The lesson here is clear: a family needs structure. Without leadership, chaos fills the gaps. And while love is vital, it's not enough on its own to create a solid foundation. A home built on emotions without wisdom, respect, and authority is like a house built on sand. Eventually, it will crumble. For the wise, the lesson is simple: before you marry, observe the family dynamics. Marry the person, yes, but understand the system that raised them. If there's no leadership, be prepared to work together to build something that should have been there all along. Peace, respect, and order don't come by chance. They come with wisdom, boundaries, and leadership. And so, Mary's family learned the importance of leadership, balance, and wisdom. Through patience, understanding, and love, they were able to rebuild their home, not with money or material things, but with the structure that every family needs to thrive. The moral: leadership creates peace. Without it, chaos reigns. And this isn't just true for families, it's true for every relationship.